This is Sunday, November the 16th, the year 2003, and we are interviewing Albert Leo Kriznar, who is how old, Grandpa? How old are you, Grandpa?
78
78
years.
old, and we're going to be videotaping him today because we are trying to create a memory, and this is called Touching Tomorrow. We're going to give this as a gift to all of Grandpa's kids and grandkids so that this can go down in posterity so that we can remember Grandpa and all of his fond memories from his childhood through now. So, Grandpa, state your name.
You already did it.
State it again.
This is me, Albert Kriznar.
Okay. Okay, and today helping us with the interview is his grandson, his oldest grandson, Bradley David Blue, with his interviewing pipe, and his oldest granddaughter, Briandon Blue. Say hi, Bree.
Hi.
Okay. She's got a coat on today. She's not feeling so good. Okay, Grandpa, we're going to start. If you could possibly go back in time and try to recall your earliest memory from childhood.
Okay, and I prepared my notes for this.
Okay.
And I remember going back, the earliest I can remember was when Bobby was being born. And that would have been in June of 1929, so I would have been 3.5, 4 years old.
Wow.
Well,
And what do you remember?
well, I just remember he was born at home, and Dr. Garvin came to the house with his little black bag, and he told us he has my little baby brother in the bag.
Did you want a baby brother?
Well, I don't know if I remember if we wanted a baby brother or what. He just predicted, I guess. Just because he saw all boys around the place.
So what was the order, Daddy? What you were the oldest, or what was the order of the kids in your family?
Well, Rosie was the oldest, and then Frankie, and then I was the oldest of my mother's kids.
Okay.
And Jimmy and then Bob.
Okay.
I
So,
was born in 1925, and Jimmy was born in 1927, and Bobby was born in 1929.
do you remember after Bobby was born then, do you remember your mom, or do you remember going in and seeing the baby or anything, or?
No, I don't remember no more about it than that, other than the doctor came with his bag and told he had a little baby brother in the bag.
So, was that common for people to be born at their own home back then, or?
Fairly common, I mean, much more than it is now, but I was born in the hospital, but
And where were you born?
St. Anthony's.
All right.
So where was this, Grandpa? Where were you being born? Where was Uncle Bobby being born?
Out in our home in Pleasant View, not the one on South Golden Road, but the one we've gone to before.
Okay, is that the one that Aunt Rosie lived in?
No, it was kind of next to where Rosie
Okay.
lived.
Okay. So what kind of neighborhood was Pleasant View? Was that like a upper class, middle class, poor
Oh,
class?
The slums.
It was the slums?
No, it was just very much country. I mean, their house would be a block away.
Oh, really? So do you think, Grandpa, growing up, you were like, would you consider yourself middle class or
No, probably the poorer.
poorer? What?
Not poorest, but poorer.
What did your parents do?
Well, my dad had a number of jobs. I can remember in the old days, my dad used to work for Rio Grande Railroad, and And I can remember, that was one of the early memories too, is we used to go to Christmas parties down at the Rio Grande. I didn't know what it was then, but it was the roundhouse. And they put a bunch of chairs up, and Santa Claus always came in on the big overhead crane and in the chair sitting on it, and he would traversed across the audience with his chair coming down, 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 until it got to the ground.
And Grandpa took you to that? Or
Uh,
was it your mom and dad that took you to that, or how did you get down
Yeah,
there?
the whole family went to it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And so do you remember anything in particular that you got for Christmas?
No, I don't remember. I just remember that Santa Claus came to town that way.
Yeah? So did he come down your chimney?
In the house?
Yeah.
Well, we didn't hardly think he'd come down the chimney. It was too small, but he came in the door.
Oh, yeah?
We made sure the door was open.
Yeah.
So what's a Christmas you can remember, Grandpa? Do you have any particular ones you can remember?
Oh, nothing particular. I remember though, we always hung our socks up on the walls in the living room there, and back in them days we had these socks that came up to the middle of your thighs and so on, and we would always go and find the biggest sock that we could and hang it on the wall. And of course Santa Claus was always bright enough that he stuck an orange down about 3/4 of the way and filled the rest of the sock.
So what was a common present for you?
Coal.
Well, I don't know. I remember one year we got coal.
You did, Grandpa? When you were a kid, you got coal?
Coal and rotten potatoes.
Oh, because you were bad kids?
Yeah.
Or was it a joke?
Well, it was a joke.
Hmm.
But somehow my mom got hold of some candied rotten potatoes and put coal in them. She put that in it. She had a glass tray that sat on the dining room table, and it was full of that.
So, I mean, why did she pick that year? Had you been particularly bad kids that year? Or?
No, she probably just found this rotten potatoes somewhere.
And were you bummed?
We thought it was a dumb joke that Santa Claus would pull anyway.
Grandpa, did you like really believe in Santa Claus? I mean, did you
Of
do you,
course.
and when do you when do you recall knowing that he was not real?
Well, I don't know, maybe 3rd grade.
Yeah? How did you learn?
I don't even remember how I learned. Of course, like everybody else, I guess, in school, the kids all tell them. But I can remember one time in 4th grade, this one kid still believed, and I guess he was the only one left in class that believed in Santa Claus, and he was arguing that there is Santa Claus, and he said, "I'll show you in my book of knowledge at home," and he had a set of encyclopedias, and there's a section on the real Santa Claus in there somewhere. I don't know if I read it.
Huh.
But he was quite convinced because it was in the book of knowledge.
Oh,
So what was the best present you ever remember getting when you were a boy?
Gee, I don't know. All kinds. Scooters and tricycles and baseball gloves. And one year we got a whole set of lead soldiers that everybody, I guess, thought we'd like. You could set them up, and it's just lead figurines of a lot of soldiers, and there was cowboys and Indians, and you could have wars between any group you wanted.
So you never got a PlayStation?
The what? PlayStation. What's that?
Nintendo?
No, but we had all kinds of games, and
I see.
well, so Grandpa, was it typical for you to get like one present that you all shared, or did you all get your own individual presents, or?
oh, it'd be a little of each. We got our own presents. What else I had written down? I can remember way back when we had built on the new room to our house because we were getting pretty crowded. But the new room, we slept us four boys slept in that.
Yeah. And
Of course, it was a room, no heat, no nothing. Had windows and curtains on them.
so
It was mighty cold in the winter time.
what did you do to heat up, to get warmed up?
Jumped in bed and cuddled.
You slept in the same bed with your brothers?
There was two beds in there, two of us slept together, but also the beds, they were not inner springs like they are, they were springs, and a bunch of the springs was broke, so the bed sagged toward the middle of the guy over here rolled over this guy, and they rolled together in the middle and constantly fighting. Get over, you're on my side of the bed.
Can I see that photo real quick?
How old were you when you had to share that? I mean, was it your whole life that you shared a bedroom, Daddy, or just that 1 year, or what?
No, the whole life until we bought the, I don't know, we must have built that room on him back in early 30s or something like that, but in about 1933 or so when we bought the film station. Now that film station, I remember my dad bought that from Standard Oil Company for $300.
Oh my gosh, what year was
Wow.
that?
That had probably been in 1933 or 4, maybe, something like that.
Jeez.
It's worth probably $400,000 now.
Wow.
That's in Golden?
Huh?
That's in Golden?
That's the one on the Golden Road out there, and where the film station was.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Standard Oil Company owned it, and it was during the Depression, of course, and Standard Oil didn't want to mess with it. They gave my dad, the only stipulation in the contract was that he had to sell Standard Oil products at the film station.
Wow.
The total price on it was $300.
So do you remember discussion?
Huh?
Did that seem like a lot of money at the time? Like, how are we going to come up with this?
Well, I was too young to really know, I guess, but yeah, $300 was, during the Depression, nobody had $300, but I think he was able to do it with payments.
Mm. So what else do you remember about the Depression, Daddy?
Well, I remember my dad had a lot of trouble finding work. I mean, he was home a lot. Not much work around.
And is that when he got the film station, and that's what kind of kept him busy, or did that not keep him that busy?
Well, yeah, he got the film station, and some days in the wintertime we'd sell 0 gallons of gas, but I remember the profit on gas was 1 cent a gallon. But gasoline was selling for 18 cents a gallon.
Wow.
Huh.
So if you, on a typical day, what kind of cars were they running back then? I mean, a Model T, or what was the kind of car that ran back then?
Fords and Chevys, Oldsmobile, Rio, Durant, Oldsmobile, Whippet.
Were they pretty much all black
Whippet?
still?
Whippet?
Whippet was the name of one of them, yeah.
Huh.
My brother had a Whippet.
A Whippet? Who made Whippets?
That's the name of the car, like
Huh.
Oldsmobile, Pupmobile, Oldsmobile, Duesenberg.
Huh. Well, so were they all black? Were cars all black then,
They
or?
were all dark colored. I mean, I remember when all Model Ts was always all black. But I remember Chevy came out with a kind of a two-tone dark green. But most cars were black or dark blue, dark colors anyway, nothing like they are now.
So
Yeah.
did you guys, did your family have a car your whole life, or?
Yeah, we pretty much had a car all the time. I remember it was a Model T, and then back in the early days, I remember my dad, on cold days, he'd get up and he'd have Frankie go out and help him sometimes too, but there was no such thing as antifreeze. You got up and went out and started your car, and after you got it running, you put water in the radiator. So, I mean, because if it wouldn't start, you didn't want water in there to freeze. But
So you guys had a Model T, huh?
oh, it was, yes, we had
Wow.
one piece for quite a while.
That's crazy.
Huh.
I wanted to get this on camera real quick. This is the quintessential
Grandpa
grandpa
folder.
folder.
What's this?
Complete with tape, but not yellow tape.
That's Scotch tape.
Scotch tape. Yeah.
That's my favorite notepad.
Has been ever since 1930.
Anyway, in my early days, I also remember two things. That back in them days, there was two donkeys that roamed the country. Nobody knew who they belonged to, but this family over here would capture the donkeys, or maybe just one of them. But anyway, whoever captured the donkeys and would feed and water owned the donkey until they got tired of it. Then they turned it loose, and another family would latch on to the donkeys. But in that album over there, I think there's a picture of the donkey.
Yeah.
When we had it.
Okay. Okay.
Me and Rosie and Frankie, I guess.
Grandpa, let me see. So that's the picture of the donkey. Let me zoom in on this a little bit. I'll try to get the... Okay, there's the picture of the donkey. And who's on it, Grandpa? Rosie and Frankie and you?
Probably. Is that who? 3 kids?
Yeah. And that's your house in Pleasant View too? In that picture? Cool. And so how long did you have the donkey?
I don't remember. Everybody had captured and you'd use them for a couple of weeks or something like that and be tired of them, turn them loose and somebody else would latch onto them. Nobody ever knew who the donkey belonged to.
Huh. Well, how about other animals, Grandpa? You've told me before that you had cows in a pasture or something, right?
Oh, we always had a cow, not cows, one cow, milk cow all the time. That's what, we just drank lots of milk, and that's what we had for breakfast most of the time. Dinner, we ate lots of milk.
So is that your job to milk the cow, or how did that work?
No, I didn't. Rosie did a lot of milking of the cow. And my mom and dad, but I never did milk the cow.
So did you have like a little fenced yard or something for
Yeah,
the...
we had a fenced corral where the cow was, but in the daytime you milked the cow and you turned him loose and he just wandered the country out there. And then it was your job at night to go find the cow, and sometimes it had wandered several miles away.
How did-
You didn't know if it went that way or that way or that way. You in time learned of a couple of favorite places where the cows went, but some of them were that way, some of them were that way, and that made an awful long walk at night to try to find the cow.
Huh. Well, okay, go ahead, Bear.
I just wanted kind of off on a tangent. Both of your parents came from Yugoslavia.
Yeah,
They were the first generation here.
first generation to come here, yeah.
Okay.
And did they come over together?
No. And, I guess you don't ask me too much history of them. I don't know where or when they came or how they met or nothing like that.
Huh.
I think they met through some mutual friends lived in Denver. We used to
Yeah.
have to go visit them, and God, we were bored to death.
Did they speak Yugoslavian?
Yeah, they spoke Yugoslavian. We
So-
didn't understand.
So did they speak Yugoslavian in your home?
Well, my mom and dad spoke Yugoslavian when they didn't want us to know or understand,
Yeah.
or when they would cuss them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of good cuss words in Yugoslavian.
You do, Grandpa? What's one?
Well, I don't know what they mean anyways.
Well, name one.
Toya Pahodic. How was that?
You can almost guess. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Grandpa, go back to that. Do you know for either of your parents why they came here or what year they came?
Well, my dad, I remember, he said he came here to avoid being drafted over there, but,
Would that be for World War One?
huh?
For World War One?
Well, no, it'd be after World War. Well, no, I don't know. Maybe probably in World War One era anyway.
Okay, just
Yeah, I don't know the date that he came. I have some of his naturalization papers and that kind of stuff, but I don't know when he came. But anyway, there was conscription going on over there, whether the war was going on or not. You know, or served so much time in the military.
what does conscription mean?
Being inducted into the army, having to serve
Oh.
so much time in the military.
Oh, drafted. Yeah.
Drafted. Okay.
Okay, Grandpa, as far as your mom, you don't know why she came over?
No, I don't know.
Was there like a section of town that was the Yugoslavian section of town or something? Kind of like we have Globeville
Yeah.
or Harlem or...
Globeville was kind of the foreign part. They had a lot of Polacks and Slavs, and I guess German settlements down in the Globeville area. You know, Bob Katowski's folks, they lived down there. They were Polak immigrants, I think, weren't they?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
But,
Huh.
yeah, that Globeville area was I guess, the Slav, Polak, German area.
Yeah,
North Denver was Italian.
yeah. Where were the Mexicans?
I don't know. We didn't really have that much Mexican.
So it was Italian and...
It was
German
mostly
and-
European immigrants at that time.
Okay. So there wasn't like a black section of town or anything either? It was just mostly Italian, Irish? Okay.
Black.
Huh.
Do you remember who was the group at that time that was kind of the bottom of the barrel as far as getting the bad jobs and stuff? Was it the Irish at that time?
No, I don't. I guess most of the immigrants that came over from Europe came over to work, and they worked.
Mm-hmm.
My
So it
dad-
wasn't like one group was treated much worse than the rest?
I don't think so, but, I don't think so, I think, but they settled pretty much in groups. I mean, here'd be a settlement of Slavs, and here's the Poles, and here's Germans.
Hmm. Hmm. So for Grandpa, then...
It wasn't so much racial though as now, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for Grandpa, his first wife wasn't your mom?
No.
Okay.
See, for his first wife was Frankie and Rosie's mom.
And you don't know how they met either?
No,
And when did she die?
I don't know if she died, I think of tuberculosis.
When Frankie and Rosie were pretty young?
Yeah.
And then how long after that did he marry your mom?
Well, I don't know, I got their marriage certificate. They would have got married in probably 1923 or 4.
Yeah.
I was born in 1925.
Okay. Do you think it was a pretty cohesive step family, Daddy? I mean, was your mom friendly with Frankie and Rosie, or, did they pretty much treat her as their mom, or what?
Yeah, pretty much so, I think so.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if Frankie and Rosie would have felt the same about her, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Grandpa, let me ask you one of the questions that I've been wanting to ask since the very beginning when you were talking about the doctor coming with his black bag. So do you remember, what are other things that were like typical practices as far as medicine back then? Like do you remember sicknesses at your home that would scare people to death, or like tuberculosis you mentioned? Was that like something that people were terrified of, or polio, or?
No, I think we had the normal childhood diseases. We all got pink eye every winter, and we all got measles, mumps, and I remember remember when scarlet fever was an epidemic, it seemed like one of us got it, and when scarlet fever is in the family, the whole family was quarantined. And I remember one got it, and then 3 weeks later, when they was about to get well, another one got it, and I remember we went through the whole damn family with scarlet fever, and I think I still have my 4th grade report card where I got an incomplete for the whole 6 weeks period on our report card because we weren't there in school for about 6 weeks total altogether. We just went through a
So
scarlet fever.
the whole family was quarantined then? And,
Yeah.
What does quarantine mean? You can't go in and out of the house, or how do you get groceries and stuff?
Well, you'd go get your groceries, but you wouldn't associate. The kids didn't go to school and mingle with other kids, and you stayed home.
No, so scarlet fever was a deadly disease then, obviously.
Well, scarlet fever is a deadly disease now, even too. But yeah, they didn't have penicillins and stuff back there, and yeah, it was serious, and you'd have fever 104, 105, 106. It was quite high fevers with the damn stuff.
So do you remember like what the treatment was? Did you like sit in cold bathtubs, or what did you have to do?
To take down the fever, yeah, you could get an alcohol wash down or something like that, but generally you just waited it out.
Yeah. Well, so Grandpa, this brings me to an interesting story because I've always been fascinated by the story about your eye. And the summer that you injured your eye was, just tell everybody for the camera here what happened to your eye and that whole story.
Well, I was playing, fell on wheat stubble and
How old were you?
hit my eye. I've been in, I think it was probably the 7th grade, the summer after the 7th grade.
Yeah.
This story fascinates me too because throughout my life, whenever my mom didn't want me to throw snowballs or play with swooks, she would tell me that you lost your eye when you were playing with sticks with your brother and he hit your eye. And then I heard another a story where somebody put a rock in a snowball and that hit your eye.
No, the rock and the snowball was my eye.
I can't believe that you just fell on weed. I thought it was something much more terrible.
I thought you guys were playing with swords like wheat stalks or something.
It was the wheat stuff, but that wheat was, like the ragweed stem.
Uh-huh.
They could be big, and they were.
So you just
Strong
tripped
stubble.
and fell on it and it impaled your eye? Oh. Well, so I thought that you guys were playing with it, like swords. Well, okay, so, and then, so...
But I'll tell you, I think my parents were pretty poor then. My treatment for that thing, I stayed in bed all summer long, or the rest of the summer long, in the room with the drapes pulled, and I was as well as could be, but I stayed in bed because that was the treatment, I guess.
So was that just because they didn't have any better knowledge back then, or your family was too poor to go to the doctor, or too uninformed, or what?
Well, yeah, we never went to the doctor. At one time, I probably should have gone to a doctor, but I don't think the doctor could have done that in any way. But we never did see the doctor.
Huh.
Wow.
So you just stayed in a dark room the whole summer?
Yeah.
You didn't read? I guess you couldn't read with bad eyes.
No, there wasn't enough light in the room.
No TV yet.
Well,
can't believe
Hadn't
it.
been invented yet. No radio.
they had radio, but the radio was in the other room.
So you just sat in there the whole summer long?
I was in bed most of the time.
I can't believe that they didn't exclude you from military service for that. That just occurred to me.
I have a hard time believing it myself, but
Did you tell them when you went into the military that you had a bad eye?
well, yes, they checked it over, and you had one good eye. That was enough.
Huh. Huh.
It's unbelievable.
But I know know, another kid, one that I went up to Seattle with, he had a blind one eye and two, and they didn't draft him on account of it.
Lucky you, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I made it.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of a nice segue into the thought of military. Tell me about your life in the military, Grandpa.
Well, you wanted to know about life as a child, what was like normal. We played with cars, cowboys and Indians, and kicked the can, and
What's kick the can?
did you guys play kick the can?
I never played kick the
Well,
can.
there was a base where you had the can. It was almost like hide and seek, only you had can. If you run in and kick the can, then whoever's it had to go fetch the can and come back and count 100 or whatever and start looking for people again. And if he 1, 2, 3'd you on home base before you kicked the can, then he so it just tagged with the can. You played kick the can, but out there in Pleasantville we had lots of good hiding places.
Yeah.
And
So did you get the whole neighborhood involved in playing?
yeah, we got quite a few of them. On the one vivid thing I can remember, we had between our shop building and our garage, there was kind of a hall, and I can remember we'd kick the can, tear up that, and we could go either way from back that. But I remember Alvin and Alfred Mountain were playing kick the can with us.
Oh, Alvin and Alfred.
Just a little old shaver like that. And kicked the can or something. Of course, he was barefooted running. Tore up through there and plopped right in the middle of where our cow had let loose. And stopped. Alvin! I stepped in the cow poop! That's a vivid memory of kick the can. That's all.
So you must have run around barefoot a lot?
Oh, we did quite a bit. You ran around barefoot, yeah.
Huh. What other memories, Grandpa?
Anyway, in the wintertime, we used to make spool cars, and we'd take a spool from the thread and put a rubber band through it and a matchstick and a button, and you could wind it up like that, and then it'd run. Did I ever show you one of these little things?
Mm-mm.
No. Well, anyway, we used to puff the rug up, a carpet, and puff it up and make hills and stuff to see who could make the champion spool car to climb up the hill.
Huh.
We did all kinds of things like notch the rim of the spool and make cleats or put rubber bands on them to make it have more traction.
Huh.
Anyway, we spent a lot of time making spool cars and puffing the rug up to see whose spool car could climb the hill the furthest.
Like that's the precursor to what are those trucks that go anywhere now? Hummers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was kind of like it was kind of a spool with a matchstick sticking out this way, and it tended to want to run in a circle because you're dragging that stick.
Huh.
You got them so they can run pretty straight.
Huh.
Anyway, that was we used to swim a lot in the irrigation ditch and the irrigation pond, and
Wasn't it full of sewage and stuff?
there were cows that swam with us.
Yuck.
They did their duty in the pond, and, but that didn't bother us. Well, you went over to the other end of the pond to dive and swim. They had a head gate out there, and we got planks, and we built up pretty good springboards that you could dive off the damn thing. You've been surprised at the classy diving boards they made.
So no paying your $2.50 to go to the public pool, huh?
No, when I got about, I don't know, must have been 6th grade or so, with that Camp George West where they had the National Guard down there, they opened up that pool and let the public swim in that. And they furnished lifeguards and everything else, and it was free. But we got to swim in that for several years.
Oh. Hmm. For free, huh?
Yeah, yeah. And the county provided Red Cross lifeguards and everything else for us.
So did you like that better than your own irrigation ditch?
It was much cleaner and nicer
Yeah.
place to swim than the irrigation pond.
So when you would play irrigation swimming, Grandpa, was it just with you and your brothers mostly? Was that your typical playmates or all kinds of kids in the neighborhood?
Oh, other kids around the country there go with us and stuff.
Mostly boys or boys and girls or
Oh, most, all boys.
all boys?
Girls would go swimming with us. We had to swim nude a lot of times.
Oh.
Oh.
Like the Norman Rockwell picture where they're running
Yeah.
running with the clothes off.
Yeah, and then, I don't remember, do you remember when we was little going out to dredge?
Mm-mm.
And then there was the place where an old dredge had sunken out on West 44th. We swam out there a lot too.
What's a dredge?
Dredge is what they used to scoop. Well, you could haul out where a canal of water was running down and you dig it out, but the dredge they generally used out there was to dredge and take all the sand up on the bottom of Clear Creek and run through their sluice boxes to pan out the gold.
Yeah.
But this old abandoned one that had collapsed and sunk, and
Huh.
a bunch of old timbers that just went off.
So it was full of water?
Well, yeah, it was in kind of the bottom of the creek area where
Oh.
the dredge was, but the dredge had collapsed and sunk,
Oh.
so it made a bunch of water pools around it.
Oh. So it sounds like it'd be rusty and
Oh, no, it was very clear. I mean, the creek run through it was pretty clean. The only trouble is many other marine animals lived in there with you, like water snakes and
oh.
frogs and toads.
Ugh.
So, do you remember your first job then?
My first job,
Yeah.
well, okay, when we was growing up, when my dad bought that film station in the summertime, well, all the time, I guess he bought the film station in about 1934, 3 or 4, something like that. But then we for several years, my mom would make a basket of food and somebody would be out watching the film station. And we was just 7th and 6th, 7th, and 8th grade kids, and you might be tending the film station by yourself.
And it wasn't right next to the house like it is now.
Oh, it was a mile, 2 miles away, I guess, a mile and a half away. That is 2 miles away. But anyway, I remember for years we toted dinners and suppers and it was up to whoever was taking care of them. A lot of times we walked, and sometimes when the car was home, we took the car up there. We had our dog when we rode between the fender and the hood of the car up there. But we tended the film station up there. And then my dad started buying old cars and we'd wreck them up there. And if we wreck out a car for scrap iron or scrap metal, and he'd save parts of the things, parts that might burn up on the car. If somebody came by and wanted a generator from a 1926 Essex, he might have it.
So that's how you got into the junk business?
That's how he started getting into junk business. And we wrecked cars up there.
What do you mean when you say you wreck a car?
Mostly me and Jimmy. Well, we tore them apart. He'd buy an old bootmobile of some kind up there, and we'd tear it apart for scrap metal. I mean, you had to make little pieces out of it to sell for scrap metal.
And did you get paid to do it?
No.
How old were you then, Daddy?
Well, we probably did that from the time I was in 6th grade, 7th, 8th, 9th, way up in those years.
So that was bye-bye to the swimming hole days?
Huh?
That was goodbye to the swimming hole days, and after that you had to work?
Well, after we moved up to the film station area, yeah, actually we toted dinners up there for years and years, and then about, I don't know, it'd been maybe 1939, 38, 39, something like that. We built a house out there. And
Oh, yeah.
That took years to build, but we had to dig that damn thing. Actually, we built it on the site of apparently an old house years and years ago burnt down or something. And there was kind of a depression there. We were built, but see, we just built the basement on that thing and lived in the basement. Well, actually, we lived in that hut where old Dirty Ernie lived for a couple of years almost.
Dirty Ernie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In back of the house. So you built this by hand, Daddy?
Yeah.
And did you, so you learned how to wire it and all that stuff?
Well, we did the whole damn thing by ourselves, yes. We dug the damn basement out of the thing, and
Jeez, hand dug it.
That's amazing.
Wow.
wow,
So how much do you think that house cost you?
I haven't the faintest idea, but it took place over a period of 5 years, or many years.
Huh.
Hmm.
So was
Amazing,
your,
all the stuff that you can get done without TV. I was thinking the
uh-huh. Yeah.
had jobs and built houses and went to swimming hole and
Yeah.
But we had an old, almost kind of like a dog catcher car. And we made trip clear down to Denver, down in Cherry Creek. You used to be able to drive down there and load up sand out of Cherry Creek. And I guess, put about 3/4 of a yard of sand out of Cherry Creek. You'd shovel it from the creek into the car and drive from Denver clear to Golden and dump it in. And we made many multiple trips to get sand that we was gonna make the concrete out of, and then we went up on Table Mountain and we collected rocks.
Wow.
These lava rocks, and we had huge piles of them anyway. We put many of them rocks in that sand when we built the house out there to make the concrete for the.
What was Denver like at that time? I mean, was it a frequent trip for you to make, or was it kind of a big deal? Or?
No, like Denver was here all the time. But like my mom and dad, when we was kids, would make trips every weekend. They'd go to Denver to buy groceries because buying them out of Golden was much too high. They'd make a trip clear to Denver and buy groceries for the week. But I remember you'd go down to the Central Loop and get hamburger was 3 pounds for a quarter, and sometimes on sale they get 4 pounds for a quarter.
Wow.
Were there skyscrapers in Denver, or what?
Well, Daniels and Fisher Tower was the tall building. You know where that is?
Kind of like a clock tower, isn't it?
Yeah, the clock tower. That was
Hmm.
the tower. I remember as a kid, my mom was going down there, and my mom, when we went up on the balcony to look out over, thought we was high.
Now it's almost the same city, Denver and Golden, is it?
Well, the whole Front Range is packed now.
Yeah, well, back then, I imagine I was spent quite some time driving through.
Well,
Through
yeah,
nothing.
you went through fields and swamps. I mean, the Lakewood area was kind of, a lot of areas that was swampy. I mean, and I.
That must be how it got its name, Lakewood.
Huh?
That must be how it got its name, Lakewood.
Probably so. And I can remember the JCRS shopping center out there. I can remember going when it was building up a lot. My dad would be going in, look at that place now. He says, I could have bought all that ground just to pay back taxes, and, you know.
Hmm.
Back during the Depression, if you wanted to buy a piece of property, you go in there and pay the taxes, and of course you pay taxes on it for 3 years and it's yours. You know, like Harry buys his.
Right.
Well, you can buy lots and lots of property then, nobody wanted it. I mean, nobody could afford to pay taxes on it. And some of that expensive property now, man, I could have bought all that for back taxes.
Yeah.
And of course, nobody had money to pay back taxes.
Right. So, Daddy, during the Depression, you're saying that you went a lot of times without your dad having work. So, how did you guys eat and how did you function?
Well, they had giveaways where they'd put out, I forget the food bag of flour or something like that. And we were quite lucky because we had the cow, and that meant we had more milk than we could drink. And a lot of that milk would go sour. You'd make cottage cheese. We made our own butter. And cornmeal. I remember a lot of times we had cornmeal and milk for breakfast.
Yeah.
We called it sconcy.
Scotchy was cornmeal and milk.
Sconcy.
And that'd be pretty filling, though.
It was, and we was quite lucky we had it. A lot of people didn't have cows, you know.
Yeah.
And
Did you have chickens? I know Mom said she had chickens.
we had chickens, we had our own eggs, and Sundays, I guess a lot of times we were having chicken dinner when a lot of people didn't have nothing.
Huh. So in that way you were maybe had more money than some people during the Depression, huh?
Well, we didn't have more money, we had enough to eat.
Oh, okay. Huh. So, Daddy, what are some of the things that you remember? You said that you thought that maybe you were in maybe a poorer neighborhood. What would give you an indicator of that?
Well, Pleasant View was just a neighborhood of poor people. I mean, the little houses, and well, you seen the picture of house out.
Okay, just a minute. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, Daddy, what are some memories that you have of just times with your mom? Do you have any special memories of your mom?
I guess lots of them. I can remember one winter playing in the house we was playing cars and stuff, and I guess I told you. Anyway, I was driving the coal truck with my car, and I can still remember my mom was sitting at the sewing machine sewing while we was all playing, and I drove up with my coal truck and asked her, "You want to buy some coal?" And she says, "Yeah, what kind of coal you got, hard or soft coal?" And that's when it popped me. Geez, how much stuff do you have to know in this world? I mean, coal is coal. Is there black and white coal? Is there, and it just hit me. You have to know about every damn thing there is.
How old were you, Daddy?
Oh, I don't know, pretty little. Maybe
Huh.
first, second grade, way down there somewhere. But anyway, I just remember she asked me, hard or soft coal? and I just seem like I can remember now thinking at that time, my God, you have to know that about everything. I mean, is water wet or dry? And you just think you have to know everything about everything, and there's so much to know about everything. Coal is coal.
Anything else that you remember, a particular memory about your mom?
I don't know. I remember my mom, during all the time going to school, I mean, we carried our lunch in paper bags, and you know, your lunch was 2 slices of homemade bread with jelly in between them, and jelly spread pretty thin at that. But she had to bake awful lots of bread on the weekends at home, and there'd be big dish pans and all kinds of bread sitting on top of the stove rising, and then she had to bake it in a coal stove, and much of it got burnt. And we were eating sandwiches made out of pretty charry crust.
Did she curse at it or get mad at the stove at all, or?
No, it was just, she regulated the best way you can in an old coal stove.
Yeah.
That ain't as accurate as turning the dial to 220.
Yeah. Huh. What was a typical meal for you, Daddy?
Oh, that's like it is now. Mashed potatoes and gravy and hamburger.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, she'd buy hamburgers for like £3 for a quarter or something. And then when she got the hamburger home, she took oatmeal and eggs and mixed it in with it to make a meatloaf of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
The hamburger was almost half of it was oatmeal and a couple of eggs to make it stick together and
Yeah.
make hamburger patties. And we ate a lot of salad, carrots, beets, stuff we have.
Stuff that you grew in a garden, or did you buy it mostly?
We didn't have enough water out there to really garden. We tried it one year, and too many grasshoppers eat it up, and we weren't successful at gardening out there.
But you told me that your mom was a pretty nice flower gardener.
She did a lot of work in the flower garden, and she grew lettuce also.
Uh-huh.
But to grow much of a garden wasn't successful. I mean, there's not enough water, and grasshoppers were thick. They'd eat up whatever you planted.
Huh. Hmm. So you didn't have to do a lot of lawn watering or gardening?
No, there was no lawn.
Yeah. Huh. Well, I remember a nanny goat story. Something about you guys had goats or something, and your goat ate your mom's flour or something.
Yeah, we had goats several times, and I hate the taste of goat milk, and all the rest of us kind of hated it. We didn't have much, but there was this one billy goat, little young one. He was mischievous. They were cute little devils, but mischievous, and eat something, and Mom would hang a piece of clothes on the clothesline, and if she wasn't watching, the goat would be chewing it off. and she cussed at the goat many times, and she had the oleander trees, and they're poisonous. And Mom thought a lot of them she took good care of. Them, real beautiful little trees out of them. I know there's probably some pictures near them. But anyway, that goat was up there pawing and breaking and knocking branches off, and she was, look at that goddamn goat out there. And she says, I hope he eats some. She thought it would kill him, but I don't think they're that poisonous. It was pawing at her oleanders, and she was pretty mad at him. she would have fed it to him if she could.
On a platter. Huh. Well, Grandpa, there's another story I remember you telling me
Let's see if I
about a skunk. You got that one written down?
Yeah, I remember a lot of things. We did a lot of hiking around the country. We played marbles and checkers and baseball. So we didn't play baseball. We always did softball.
What about chess, Grandpa?
I didn't learn chess until I was in the Army.
What?
we played football and we played basketball. And we had to make our own, like we'd make a football up out of a bunch of rags and an old sock or something and tie them up tight. And I remember one time, cover off of our softball was coming loose, and like most of the water kept. Anyhow, well, I got a hold of some copper wire, thin copper wire, and man, I spent days sewing that goddamn thing with a needle and copper wire, and I thought, boy, I got it now. I got metal copper wire sewed up that damn softball, and of course, you go out and play with it, and that copper wire flexes 3 or 4 times, pop, pop, pop. Pretty soon you've got a bunch of sharp copper wire stickers if you try to catch the ball. Anyway, I was pretty disillusioned after all the time I spent sewing that ball up. It didn't last no time at all.
Were professional sports something that anyone paid attention to back then?
Yeah, the professional football didn't amount to much. There was, I think, Detroit and Chicago and Green Bay, about 3 professional teams, but not
Pittsburgh
didn't play much standard. But baseball was the sport, and I don't know. We never got into baseball too much. Of course, as a kid, I never played baseball. It was always softball. But I was a pretty good player myself.
You were, Grandpa?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Pretty damn good. Actually, we had a softball team out there. We got up, played.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Well, I know you don't know that.
Well, now you're telling me.
And yeah, anyway, the skunk, we used to hike up on what they call Rattlesnake Hill out there. That's the hill just back of where
That's Green Mountain, right?
The Jefferson County Fairground
Yeah,
is.
with
Is that Green Mountain?
Well, Green Mountain is a whole big mountain. Rattlesnake Hill was kind of a forehill in front of it. That apparently was a old-time lava eruption or something. But anyway, there's a bunch of big rocks on it and big cracks in them and so on. We used to play hide and go seek and stuff up there in them rocks and stuff.
Weren't you afraid of rattlesnakes?
No, there weren't no rattlesnakes on it. Not there on the other side of the mountain. There were,
Did you catch them?
they called it Rattlesnake Hill anyway, but that was it. But anyway, there's a big crack in the rock where skunks made their toilet now. Maybe people don't believe it or something, but skunks may be pretty clean or something. But anyway, this crevice where there was a skunk toilet, because skunks would get in the damn thing and crap and go. But anyway, we were playing hide and go seek and looked in. There was a skunk in the damn thing. And dumb shits that we were, we had to capture the goddamn thing. Anyway, I remember Frankie and me and Jimmy, we was all up there. And one of us stood guard outside the damn thing. Of course, the skunk wouldn't come out as long as you was there. And I think Frankie came up with the idea, but anyway, he went home and got a broomstick and a gunny sack and a bunch of copper wire, and we made a snare, a loop, on the end of the broomstick, and we made the snare so we could snag the foot of the skunk and cinch it down. And the idea was to pull him in the gunny sack on the outside. And of course, during all this snaring operation, if you wanted to smell skunk, you should have been up there. I mean, that place reeked where we all didn't pass out. I mean, it was thick. You almost cut it. But anyway, we succeeded in getting that damn skunk, snaring him, and getting him into the gunny sack. Of course, he was all pissed out by that time, and there no more odor left in him. But got him in the gunny sack. What do you do when you get a skunk in the gunny sack? Well, we took him home.
I bet your mom was tickled with that.
Well, we never did get him home, as a matter of fact. But we had this big cave we had in the ditch down there. But on the way home, we had him in the bag there. And I remember this little girl, Margie Ferguson, she came out. She saw us coming home with a gunny sack. And she said, "Oh, what do you got in the sack?" We got a bunny rabbit we caught up there. And he said, "Oh, can I get him?" I said, "Okay, okay." So she came over and we opened the sack for her. Funny now. Anyway, she reached in the nice bunny. And she pulled out. And she's probably running and screaming today.
Did you hate Margie Ferguson or what? Or why did...
No, she was actually our close neighbor. Bobby played along with her. But she just thought she wanted to pet a bunny rabbit. I don't think most people won't even believe you if you're dumb enough to go capture a skunk. Anyway, we had this cave. It was a big, you wouldn't believe how big the cave was. Anyway, we put threw the sack in, let the skunk run his way out of the sack, but we put a little board about that high up across the entrance to the cave and filled it in with dirt, so the skunk would have had to jump that high to get out, but that's well. Anyway, we threw him in there and then we thought, geez, what do you think we ought to feed the damn skunk? So we went home and got a couple of carrots and I don't know, some lettuce or something and went and threw it into him. By the time we went down there and threw the damn stuff into him, we looked around and he was gone.
You're gonna keep the skunk for a pet in the cave?
We didn't know what the hell to do with him. We just had him. That's enough.
So besides the skunk, Grandpa, did you ever have any other pets?
Oh, yeah, we had neighbors that go, they were from Iowa or something, in the summertime. They'd come back and bring us a turtle once in a while. And we had another neighbor gave us a guinea pig once. And I remember one year we had a bunny when at Easter time they left a bunny in the house, and we'd find that there's the Easter bunny didn't get home yet or something. Anyway, we had that rabbit. And we had dogs and cats. I remember one cat we had would always, I don't know, was climbing up to catch birds or what, but got on top of the damn telephone pole, sitting on top of it for several days, and the cat won't come down, you know, they can't back down. They can't come down like a squirrel or nothing like that if they go up. So, I can't remember, we had to have public service come out and get the cat down.
Really? You always see that in commercials and stuff, you know, that rescuing.
A cat can't come down, I mean, they won't anyway, maybe they could if they were smart enough, but they won't. But it was up on top of that telephone pole for 2 days.
What was your cat's name?
Jeez, I don't remember. Kitty.
Did you have to feed it cat food or just table scraps or just mice or what?
Just milk and bread.
Yeah. Did
Table scraps and milk and bread.
was the cat allowed in the house?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Did you had a dog, I remember.
Yes, Sandy.
Okay. Of all your pets, was Sandy your favorite?
He's the only dog I can really remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to, there's probably a picture of him in there somewhere.
You think?
Ugly Airedale kind of,
Yeah.
but he was our pet.
Hmm. Okay, they're looking for pictures of the dog, but they can't find him.
Airedale.
Grandpa?
What in there, what the, story, what did I want to be when I grew up? And I can remember I wanted to be a baseball player. I wanted to be although we never played baseball and softball, or I wanted to be a magician.
You did? Did you practice tricks, Grandpa?
Huh?
Did you practice tricks?
No, not some if you knew how.
Yeah. Well,
Just remember got a book of card tricks one time.
huh.
I remember when I was a little boy, you showed me a trick where you had a little piece of gum on a corner of a handkerchief,
Yeah.
and you made a penny disappear, and I always thought that was magic.
Grandpa, which of your four brothers, of the four of you in your house, did you play with the most? Who were you the closest with?
Probably Jimmy, but we fought like hell too. All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
He was as close as my age.
so,
Bobby was kind of babied by my mom. She was the youngest.
how much younger is Bobby than you?
Oh, 4 years.
Oh, okay.
Bobby was born in about 3.5 years, 3 3/4 years.
Yeah. Huh. Well, which of you would you say was the, if you had to give one-word descriptions of you and your family, which one would you say would be shy and quiet, and which one would you say would be the ringleader or the most mischievous, or which one got in most trouble? Or
Frankie got in gobs of trouble.
yeah.
He was a hell. He had developed a reputation. I mean, in high school, I think he skipped more times than he went to school. And I had a reputation to live down by the time I got to high school.
Oh, that must have been hard.
Yeah.
So people would just like, oh, you're Frank Krizner's brother. You must be up to no good.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, I remember the high school principal didn't think too much of me. At first I got to know him a little better. He was a wrestling enthusiast, and when I was wrestling, I got to know him very well and liked him, but he knew me from Frankie.
Huh.
And Frankie, he got a car, and well, he got a lot of things that we didn't get as kids. He got a bicycle, and me and Rosie, he got a bicycle, and he put a paddle off on it, so we couldn't use it. But me and Rosie, we had a kit of keys, a can of just keys, and I mean, we searched that whole bunch of keys. We found a key that fit the lock. And when he was gone, we took the old bicycle out and rode the hell out of it.
And he never came home and found it?
Well,
Found it gone?
I think he suspected sometimes, but he couldn't prove it. The lock was still there. The bicycle might not have been exactly like he left it or what.
Or it had a flat tire.
It could have had that too, but at least he got a bicycle. I never had I bought my own first bicycle when I was a sophomore in high school.
Huh.
So what was your first paying job then? What was that?
Now this is kind of back in the days preceding the war, when we just got into the war in '41. I was I would have been a freshman in high school, and remember, work people were hard to get. I mean, they were off to the army and so on, but I got a job. My dad helped me get this. He knew some construction guy when they were building the road up Turkey Canyon. I worked one summer on that road. I can remember that. I think I still weighed 120 pounds, and they had us put me on the end of a wheelbarrow, wheeling gravel and into a cement. See, you didn't order premix then. They wheeled so many barrels of gravel, so much sand, and so much cement went to a hopper, and you mixed it up. And anyway, you had to run that damn wheelbarrow. You had to drive up on a scale. So you were sitting there, okay, you take out a handful on the next side. How much gravel and sand went in, and you got the thing up, then you took down, you wheeled it up. You had to run it up to a stop and flip it over so it dumped the crap out. I can remember damn near being thrown into the hopper every time I just flip my wheelbarrow up. that wheelbarrow weight was probably close to 400 pounds. I'm on the end of it weighing 120 pounds.
How old were you, Daddy?
Yeah,
How old were you?
that'd be between my sophomore and junior year.
How much did that pay?
Oh, geez, I don't even remember, 60 cents an hour or something like that.
And all at the same time you were building the house and working at the filling station?
Yeah.
Huh.
Then between my junior and senior year, they was having the same problem with the Golden Fire Brick Company. It used to be out on the other side of Golden, and they hired us out there on weekends, quite a few of the high school kids. We'd have to go out and unload bricks out of the kilns and onto wheelbarrows and roll them into box cars. And there again, them damn wheelbarrows, they put, I forget, there's I think 60 bricks on a car, and each of them weighed 8 pounds. Yeah, it'd be 480 pounds of brick. And there you are, got this goddamn wheelbarrow wrong. You hit a little pebble in the road, it's liable to throw you.
Huh.
Oh, we done.
And that's that's what you used.
That was 65 cents an hour, but we had to join their union to get that job, and we joined the union.
And that's the job you had that allowed you the money to buy your first bike?
Well, in the summertime when we was younger than that, I used to pick strawberries in the summertime.
Oh. And apples? Thought you told a story once about picking apples or something.
Never apples. I remember we picked apples one time to make cider just for our own. They gave the apples to you. But these back there, you went and picked the apples and threw them into a hopper that squeezed them, and you know that them apples, gee, they could be full of worms, shit, and everything else. But you threw the whole apples into the big hopper and press, and the press come down and squeeze the juice out of the goddamn thing. Well, I'll tell you, the apple cider you eat right now is made the same way, so don't worry.
Yuck.
I don't think the apples are quite as wormy now as they were then, but they're not wormless. And nobody is there picking the worms out of them either.
I thought, I remember some kind of apple story where some guy got mad at you and Bobby or something, and I don't know. Maybe you were sneaking into an apple orchard or something, I don't know.
Oh, we used to, when we swam down that irrigation pond out there was a big apple orchard out there. Yeah, we used to go there and pick apples and eat them while we was out swimming, and people tell us, you better not, you're going to get the cramps out there, and yeah. And then we'd also go into the damn thing, and we'd tie the bottom of our pant legs tight on each, and then we'd go out there and pick apples and throw them into our overalls till our about we ought to come home damn near a bushel of apples and
So, Grandpa, who is one that came up with the most of these ideas? Who is the most mischievous? I mean, you said that Frankie got in most trouble. Was that he got in trouble at home too, or just at school, or was it mostly at school he got in trouble
actually,
with? And
yeah, Frankie was, I guess, just enough older than me that he had his own crowd of people. I don't know what the hell he's been. He'd play with us sometimes.
but mostly it was you and Bobby and Jimmy.
And then if my dad wanted some help, he'd always call Frankie to help him.
Yeah.
You have to tell Bobby's asparagus story.
Asparagus, yeah, well, that was. You want the asparagus story? Anyway, the asparagus was that we was home eating lunch one day, and we had each had a bowl of asparagus, and of course, when you had a bowl of stuff to eat, you ate it. I mean, you was no I don't like this and pick this out and so on. Yeah. Anyway, there we were at the table eating, picking at it, and like you was Bobby, I'd look out, look through the window in back of him. Do it again. He'd look again, and pretty soon he'd look for quite a while, and we'd shovel our asparagus and throw it onto his plate. and after he finally did it, he said, "Oh, I know what you guys are doing. You're taking my asparagus." And he had a ton of it to eat, and we were all done. There we go.
Here we go. Okay, welcome back to day 2 of our interview with Grandpa Albert Leo Kriznar. Age what, Grandpa, are we during this video?
Yeah, 78.
78, okay. All right, Grandpa, last time, the other day when we were talking to you, you were telling us some of your earliest memories and some of the shenanigans you played and all kinds of stuff. So now I kind of want to go to, if you can, some of your school day memories, okay? So do you have any memories of starting school or any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I remember starting school.
You do?
I didn't go to kindergarten. I went to first grade. I remember going to the first grade. The neighbor lady took me and her daughter to register in school, first grade.
Uh-huh. How come your mom didn't go?
Yeah, she just didn't have time, I guess. Huh?
Okay. Did you feel sad that your mom wasn't there?
No.
No?
It's normal for me.
Okay.
Anyway, that's all I remember is registering in the first grade.
Uh-huh. Did you like it? Did you like school?
It was all right. It was something to do.
Were you a good student, Grandpa?
I was pretty average.
Yeah?
Pretty average.
Because my kids think that, I remember Bree telling me she thought you were the smartest man she ever knew. Back when she was about middle school.
Bree was not too bright. And most throughout grade school, I'd say I was C as you could get.
I remember looking through your, when I was a little girl, going and looking through your boxes of scrapbook stuff, and I found an old report card that might have had an F or a D on it. Because I did too.
They didn't even use F's back in the day.
Well, then it was a
as
D.
low as you could get.
It was a D then, because I thought, wow, my dad got a D.
You could get an E?
E was as low as you could get. No,
I was wondering about that, because with A, B, C, D, F, how did
A, B, C, D, E is the way we had them. There was no F.
Yeah, but what? That's so weird. Like, somebody must have thought failing wasn't bad enough.
Yeah, E wasn't bad enough, so it failed. E rhymes with F rhymes with fail. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got some D's, and I got some C's and some B's. Throughout grade school, it was nothing spectacular. Although when I got in 8th grade, They changed our grading in 7th and 8th grade to 1, 2, 3, 4. And I remember I got a 1 in math for final exam, but
Is that good?
that was top, yeah.
That's tops. Yay.
But I got some bad marks in
You got some 3s and 4s.
spelling and English.
Okay, so Grandpa, how did you get to school?
Well, okay, when we first started going to school, first grade and so on, we lived about a mile away from the old interurban trolley that used to go between Denver and Golden, but in the mornings, or mornings and evening, we rode the streetcar to Golden, and then school was about a half mile further, and after you got in Golden, but we rode that bus till I got about, I don't know, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, somewhere in there. Then they had a school bus that picked us up.
Mm-hmm. Seems like I remember you telling stories before about hitchhiking to school.
When I got in high school, they didn't furnish the transportation, so we had to make our own way, and a few days I'd ride my bicycle. That was later. Other than that, we hitchhiked to school.
And people picked you up?
Yeah, we had pretty good luck getting picked up. That's why I feel so bad sometimes when I pass up hitchhikers now on the road, because take the thing, but I hitchhike so much, and I guess I owe future generations lifts to school.
Yeah, except for our kids aren't hitchhiking to school now.
No.
Yeah,
And anyway, some days it got kind of cold hitchhiking too.
I bet.
Yeah.
And so you really did have to walk 10 miles both ways uphill in your knickers to school, huh?
Not 10 miles, but far enough.
Well, speaking of knickers, Grandpa, let's go into that. About the knickers, because I remember you telling the knickers story a lot.
Well, I remember back, I don't know, 3rd grade or 4th grade or something like that. My mom picked up a pair of knickers, and she thought we would be well-dressed kids.
They were store-bought knickers?
What are knickers? What is that?
Oh, they're little trousers that come down in a band around about here, a tight band, and puffed up.
Kind of puffed up like Oliver would have worn or
You've
something.
seen little Dutch kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, that. Anyway, I remember having to wear them damn things to school for a few days. It was pretty sad.
Didn't you tell our mom none of the kids are wearing these and I can't wear these? And were you getting teased?
Well, I don't know if I got teased or not. I felt bad about it. I don't know. I think I'd have fought back if somebody teased me.
Did you wear it like with the long socks and the...
Yeah, you have the long socks coming.
And what were most kids wearing to school at that time?
Corduroys, long pants.
What about jeans?
No, some of the poorer kids wear overalls. Jeans sometimes, overalls. And I remember later I wore overalls to school lots. I mean, the bib overalls that come up, strap over. Wore them to school a lot.
Wow.
Huh. And barefoot?
No, I didn't go barefoot. There was a kid in about 6th grade who had to come to school barefooted.
How sad.
Older than we were, I guess.
Yeah. Daddy, do you think that your family was poor?
Well, certainly not rich. Yeah, we
What-
were pretty poor.
Were you on the, I mean, as far as what the norm was for that day and age, do you think you were poorer than the norm?
Yeah, probably by far.
Yeah? What makes you say that?
Because we didn't have enough money.
I mean, like there was always plenty to eat, right?
Well, there was plenty to eat because we had the cows and chickens. And
Mm-hmm.
We had plenty to eat, you know, but we had pretty poor clothes
Yeah. Huh.
and never a nickel to spend
Yeah.
on nothing.
Yeah. Huh. Well, how did you get your money? So your parents never like said here, because I remember Grandpa, your dad, when we go out there, he'd always buy us an ice cream cone or a root beer, and he'd always give us a silver dollar and stuff. So he didn't treat you guys like that.
Well, I've yet to get my first dollar. But I remember when my mom used to give us a nickel a week if we kept our clothes in line and hung up and tidied, and we lost out on that a lot of times too.
And what could you get with a nickel?
Well, you could get they had little bags about yay high and so big you could get that thing about half full of jelly beans or candy corn or something.
Uh-huh.
Huh.
Huh.
I was gonna ask, Grandpa, going back to school, your grades, you said you were always kind of a C student, but yet all the time growing up we always got $1 for A's or $5 for A's, I think, and $1 for B's. And it was really important to you that we got good grades, but you seem to have turned out all right, getting kind of average grades.
Well, I guess my whole philosophy on education, it's a way to learn and probably some self-discipline, but that you learn in school don't have too much application to later life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Daddy, did your
I never had no bucks for C's.
Yeah.
Of course, I never got any A's anyway.
So, Daddy, did your family encourage you to go to college, or was education important to them, or did?
No, I went to college on the GI Bill. That's what paid my way through college.
Okay.
I never got no assistance in going to school. In fact, going to school to college after that, I was on that GI Bill. But the GI Bill, they paid you $75 a month during school, and I had to pay $50 a month rent.
Huh.
But that was after I was home from the army.
So you're home from the army, going back to school, living at home, and you had to pay 50 of your 75 every month to your dad for rent.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Keep that in mind, two children of mine. Okay. Okay. Well, going back to
Anyway, then in high school, I guess I got better marks than high school, except in history and English. English I could do all right, but when they threw literature in, that was out.
Huh.
And our first year English teacher was so rotten that any interest I had in literature was gone.
Did you have any form of standardized testing?
They didn't have such things back there, standardized testing.
You didn't have to take any college entrance exams or anything like that?
No, you had to have your transcript had to have the prerequisite grades to enter a particular college, that's all.
But you never had to take an ACT or an SAT or anything?
Although when I was in high school, I took an exam for, they called it for Army Specialized Training, is how I got. And I took that, and when you got drafted, you present that paper to them, and then you were supposed to go to college. Army was sending a lot of the kids that passed the specialized training tests to college. And I got in on that, and that's what I was taking. You had to take regular basic training about the last couple of weeks of basic training, they canceled the ASTP program, and they said you was all going to be reassigned, and like you was coming in the Army new and brand new. Our specialized training outfit down there, they said, this outfit all qualified for infantry, this outfit qualifies for engineers, this outfit's for artillery and so on. And so I lucked out and got the infantry.
So that's a nice introduction then to the Army section.
Okay?
Okay, so we're going to talk about the military,
Well,
but
my last year in high school, I went to a night school up at School of Mines they called Aircraft and Ship Lofting. And it was pretty much a course in drafting and drawing and layout of pretty fancy drafting class. And anyway, it's called Aircraft and Ship Lofting. And finished that course, and when we finished, Boeing Aircraft in Seattle offered us jobs when we graduated from school. Took off after I graduated. I went up to Seattle and worked for Boeing Aircraft until I got drafted. That starts my Army career.
okay. So you were up in Seattle.
Yeah.
Okay, I remember you.
Worked there until I was drafted. And I was drafted shortly after my birthday. I don't know, it was September, October, I guess.
So you're 18 or 19?
18.
Okay. Were you scared, Daddy, when you got your draft notice?
We're scared. Well, no, you pretty much knew he was coming.
Yeah. I'd be wetting my pants. I'd be so scared. Okay, well, Grandpa?
You, nothing to be scared of. It was happening to everybody, but
Yeah.
and you knew you was going to the military. But see, I had passed that Army Specialized Training Program, and they was going to send me to college.
Yeah, right. Well, Grandpa, then I'd like for you to reward our audience here by giving them a little fashion show with your Army outfit.
Okay, I just happen to have it out.
Okay.
Here it is, my jacket. They called these here Eisenhower jackets.
Okay. On account of Eisenhower wore 'em?
Yeah, supposedly.
Okay, put that sucker on.
I may need a little help here again.
Okay.
Well, God, you were all of what, 150 pounds?
Huh?
You were probably on the weight about 150 pounds, right?
A little less than that,
Can
probably.
you button her up?
You don't button it, but that's it.
Less than 150 pounds, Grandpa?
Yeah, when I graduated from high school, I weighed 127. I was probably 150, 60 pounds. Huh?
Very nice, Grandpa.
That's it.
Very nice. And so,
Nice uniform.
those were called your dress uniform?
Yeah, these are dress clothes.
Yeah. And you got some medals there? Okay, so what is this, Daddy? That's your dog tag?
Them are dog tags.
Okay.
These are just buttons that went on the uniform up in here.
Okay, just a minute. I'm trying to get it.
These are just decorations.
I'm going to try to zoom in on it right now. So okay, so that one right there.
They are nothing. This is just the infantry emblem.
Wait, I don't have you on camera here. Put it up against your shoulder. I'm not getting it. Okay, so the one at the left that says U.S.
One of them is that's just Medal on the uniforms, nothing.
Okay,
Nothing.
and what's the other one?
Infantry emblem.
Infantry, and that means nothing?
Don't mean nothing, no.
Okay, and what is the stars, what's the stripy bar mean?
Well, I don't remember what the hell. This is different stuff. I don't know. This is American theater, this is European theater, and this is the Asiatic Pacific theater. And once you go into those zones, you get their damn medals. And there's the one you get every time you turn around. Good conduct medal.
All right.
Oh,
Every time you turn around.
this is European theater. I don't know what the rest of them are.
Huh. Okay. And what's this one right here, Daddy?
That's a combat infantry badge.
No. So did you get like a...
Over. Huh?
Oh, I have it upside down? Okay. There we go, cool. So, Grandpa,
Medals galore.
so you got medals galore.
And I heard at our division reunions that I think all the outfits that were involved in the Battle of the Bulge were awarded Bronze Star medals, which is not a bunch of gold, but I could get a Bronze Star medal in there too.
Okay, so Grandpa,
That's it.
well, tell me about the military then. So was it
No damn good.
no damn good?
Well, anyway, I just went into the Army and that we had to take, supposed to take, I think, 13 weeks of basic training before you was assigned to a school.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we got through 11 weeks when the Army canceled the program. And like I told you, we was sent to an infantry outfit,
Yeah.
86th Infantry Division.
Okay, so your job as an infantryman was to do what?
I was a rifleman, that's all.
That's all? You just walked around, toted a rifle, and
Just toted rifle and walked.
yeah. Did you shoot people, Daddy?
No, if they got in our road, you don't see no people to shoot.
Yeah.
And you keep your butt down where they don't see yours too.
Yeah. Yeah. So, do you have times that memories you have, Daddy, of like when you might have been the most scared? Were you afraid a lot?
You remember when we went to Attendorn?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Right there is where we got our worst shelling that we ever got.
Yeah. So, like, were you in a foxhole or?
I had time to dig part of a little old slit trench, that's all. But
Yeah. So when you mean you have time to dig a slit trench, what does that mean? You come under fire and so everybody just hits the deck and starts digging like crazy, or?
you approach the town, and before they actually go into the town, you see you're right on the side of a damn hillside where they could bump the hell out of you, so you start digging your trench.
So how long would it take you to dig a trench?
Well, depends on how ambitious you were. 15 minutes.
Yeah. So were you afraid? And I mean, I don't know what it's like there.
Yeah, when they started shelling us, it was, you wondered what the hell you did to get into a predicament like this, yeah.
Yeah. So I suppose at that minute you're pretty ambitious then, and digging like
Well,
crazy.
It's too late to be ambitious. Then you better have that trench dug.
Yeah.
Because the shells was, yeah, that was where we got the biggest shell we ever got.
Is that where you told me about screaming meanies one time? That screamed when they came in?
Well, that was all the time. And when there was some screaming meanies. The enemy artillery it's designed so it goes up, and as it comes down, it goes. And that's what they call the screaming meanies.
Is that just for psychological effects on the people they're shooting at?
Yeah, it's kind of screamed at you, but any artillery or mortar coming in like that, zings, and whistles as it's coming down. They designed that screaming Mimi to be particularly loud.
One of the stories you told me about the military dead that I thought it was both scary and, well, it would have been terribly frightening if I was you, but in retrospect, just hearing it from you, it's hilarious, is where you were saying that the Germans would broadcast your daily bulletin or something before you had it every day or something.
Yeah, every night before evening got there, they supposedly password for the night came down, so if you saw something at night and you challenged it, better answer back the password. That's just Army routine. Then the Germans would broadcast our password to us the night before.
To let you know that they knew.
They knew it before we knew it.
How did they broadcast it?
Well, I don't know, you'd hear speakers, and they had a Piper Cub that's flew way up the hill there sometime, and they could broadcast it.
Attention please, your password for the evening.
And you could always find a radio somewhere around in the house or some damn thing, and you pick it up. They were constantly broadcasting the rise and fall of the Rhine River. Whatever that meant, I don't know, but it's supposedly that was German code or something.
Huh.
I never did figure out what their code meant. They knew what ours meant.
Huh, okay. So Daddy, do you have any happy memories of the war?
Well, when I was discharged.
Yeah.
Didn't you come back, Grandpa, and then they sent you out again?
Well, yeah, we was, see, here's what this is what they call the ruptured duct. This is the emblem you got when you was discharged. That's called the ruptured duct.
Yeah, okay.
That's the discharge emblem.
Huh. And so, where were you when you got discharged, or how long were you there, or did you see a lot of dead people,
When the war finally ended in Europe, we was the first outfit to come back to the States, return to the States as a complete unit as we went over there. Of course, the infantry outfits get depleted pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
But we was the first outfit that got to come back as a unit, and when we came back to the States, first I remember coming back on the troop ships we was coming on. They were supposed to be designed to carry 3,000 troops, and we had 5,000 troops on the damn boat.
It's a wonder it didn't sink.
Yeah, the winter didn't sink, and you had to eat in shifts and sleep in shifts. I mean, there wasn't enough cost for everybody, and it's like, but.
How long did that trip take?
Oh, I don't know, 4 or 5 days just coming back across the ocean.
It only takes 5 days to cross the ocean on a ship.
Huh?
That surprises me.
Why?
Not like the Mayflower
Where did you
days.
leave from?
Le Havre in France.
Yeah, and it only takes 5 days to get back to the States. On a boat?
Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe that. Now, didn't you, when you got back, did they throw a parade for you or anything?
Oh, yeah, there was a big parade, not parade, but gobs of people and photographers and junk like that on, matter of fact, I got some old newspapers of the Rocky Mountain newspapers that show pictures of the division coming back to the States, and newspaper reporters and all that, and on the docks, and lots of celebration. But we were on the ship, and coming off the ship, we loaded on the trains and zipped out of town, so we didn't take no parades like that. But that was as efficient as the Army ever got. We got trip right on the trains, went to Camp Kilmer in New Jersey, and then they gave us a 1 month's furlough after we came back, and then we were supposed to be regrouping and we'd be headed for the
Yeah.
war in the islands.
Wow.
When you say the islands, what are you talking about, Daddy?
In the Pacific.
Okay.
It's all islands over there, you know. But we were supposed to regroup in Gruber, and after the furlough and was in Gruber, we were supposed to be there for, I don't know, 3-4 weeks or something like that. But they dropped the A-bomb while we was there, and within days, we was loaded on troop trains headed for California, and they shipped us off to we landed in the Philippines over there. But by then,
Wait a second. You said they dropped the A-bomb. Didn't the war end right after that?
yeah.
So why did they ship you over there?
Boy, that's what we was asking. We got the names the Squawking Hawks, you know, the Black Hawks, Squawking Hawk, because they were shipping our butts off and the war was over.
Huh.
Or they had dropped the bomb anyway. They hadn't signed the peace treaty, but they knew it was over. But some general wanted another ribbon, right?
So you went over.
Anyway, we ended up in the Philippines, and Philippines had no place for us. We lived on our troop ships for about close to 2 weeks before they could find a rice paddy to let us move on to. And that's where we made our camp. First camp is in some rice fields over there.
So what was your job there, Daddy?
Rot.
To rot?
Yeah.
Like a shot was never fired?
Well, there were still some Jap stragglers, but they never really caused any problem, but they had to be rounded up, and they rounded them up. But mostly was just an occupation force over there.
So did you ever run into any of the Jap stragglers?
I never did get in on any of the patrols, but they had to send patrols out several times to areas where they had sighted them.
Yeah.
But they weren't causing any trouble.
Yeah.
And yeah, by then, of course, the war was over. The peace treaty had been signed and all that.
Right. You told me something about guarding some
Well,
something.
well, our detail, we had a bunch of Jap PWs, prisoners of war. Is that good?
Yeah.
And we got details generally to have them working, doing stuff. Generally gave them kind of crappy details to do. Anyway, I remember one time when I got to be guard on had 40 Japs, and they gave them machetes, you know, about so long, bolo knives, and they were supposed to go cut this underbrush in this valley where it's damp and mosquito-y and stuff like that. And they gave me an unload empty 45 to be supervising on them.
All the Japanese guys with machetes?
All of them had a big old machete like that.
And you didn't even have any bullets?
No, I don't know. But they weren't causing no trouble, but that's the way the Army does things. I mean, empty 45 strapped on your waist. And,
Why didn't they give you a loaded one?
well, they didn't want you shooting the damn thing.
Huh.
Anyway, we gave the Japs the machetes, and they were supposed to cut that underbrush out, and I remember they all head down there and chop, chop, chop. You hear it all chopping like hell, and chop, chop, and then chop, chop. We got less and less big, kind of formed this little zigzag trail in the brush. Pretty soon there was no chopping going on. Didn't bother me though.
Go find him.
Did you feel like down there and fine? Going there, okay, you guys.
Yeah.
Back to work with your empty gun.
They couldn't understand you anyway, but then.
Well, Grandpa, I'm going to move away from the war then and just say when you came back to the United States, when you came back to the U.S., because I don't know really I don't really even know how you met Mom. How did you meet Rita Virginia Mott?
Well, during the war, of course, they hired kids for doing all kinds of work before and during the war. And anyway, my brother Bob worked with Mom. They took a job at Meadow Gold,
Yeah.
and Bob worked down there with her. And when I came home on furlough, I met,
That month period before you went to the Philippines? Yeah.
I met her and a bunch of the people he was working with down at Meadow Gold.
Yeah.
And that's the first time I met her.
And what was your first date?
Oh God, I don't even remember.
You can't remember?
No. When we was home we used to go to wrestling matches out at Mammoth Gardens.
Huh. Did you go on group dates or
Who?
group dates or just one, like with groups of people or?
Yeah, pretty much groups.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Me, I was the soldier home, and Bobby and some of the other people that he worked with at Meadow Gold was in there.
okay. So do you remember when you asked Mom to marry her? Do you remember any of that? Okay. Well, Grandpa, because we're going to get to the end of our videotape, so we have about 5 minutes to wrap this up.
I can remember one interesting, when coming home from the Philippines, after, you had to accumulate so many points. You got so many points for each year you was in the Army and your age and various ways. You had to accumulate enough points before you got enough points to come home. Anyway, we came home. You didn't come home as a unit then, just on a damn troop ship. But, I remember on the troop ship coming home. I was an old seasoned seafaring feller by then. I'd gone on amphibious training, went to Europe and came back and went to the Philippines, and I knew the seasickness was a bunch of hogwash. It was all in your mind. And I got on that damn troop ship and came home and got sicker than I could ever think.
Was there a storm at sea or something?
Nothing as calm as it could be.
Huh.
And I remember about the third day out, every day after that, you'd get in these big long chow lines because there's a lot of people on the ship. And I get clear up to the entrance to the mess hall where he's going to eat and start smelling food. I have to leave. I was like, I think third day out, I finally managed to get something down.
Huh, I wonder why it hit you just then.
I don't know, but I know it wasn't metal because I was an old seasoned sailor by then and all the trips I'd taken, and I just knew I couldn't get sick, and man, I did.
Huh. Well, Grandpa, I want to close the tape by asking, this videotape has been produced with the assistance of my two trusty assistants, Bradley David Blue, grandson number 1, and Brianne Dawn Blue, granddaughter number 1. And so I'd kind of like to close the tape and ask Brad and Bree if they have any last bits of advice or stories or anything that they'd like to hear from you. Okay, so Breezy, we're going to start with you.
Well, you seem to have a fascination with smoochies, but we never get to hear any stories about your smoochies.
None?
So I was wondering if you ever had a girlfriend growing up, or what your first kiss was, or if you didn't have any smoochies until you met Grandma Rita.
I didn't have any.
Yes, you did.
Yes, he did.
Oh,
So you teased us for so long about it. Now let's hear about your smoochies.
I haven't heard about yours yet.
We've put him on the spot here, folks.
There's no smoochies. I was an anti-smoocher.
I know you had a girlfriend named Shirlene.
Shirley,
Shirley, yeah.
she was one of the girls that, was from Chicago. I went with her most of the time when I was home on that furlough.
Uh-huh.
But how was she in the smoochy category?
Top notch.
Okay, Braddy, what questions do you have for Grandpa, or any words of advice?
I want to know, if you could live one day of your long life over again, what would it be?
What was your favorite day, Grandpa? A day that you had a really good time that goes down in your memory as a great, great day.
Well, I don't know. That knocks me cold. I don't know of any.
How about the birth of me?
Huh.
No, that don't get it either. I don't know of any one day, or weeks, or months, or
If
nothing.
you could live 1 year of your life, then what was the best age to be?
A teenager,
A teenager, huh?
yeah.
So I'm already past it.
Huh?
I'm already past it.
You're over the hill.
You need to give me something to look forward
You're
to.
you're over the hill.
Oh.
What was so great about being a teenager, Daddy?
I just had a lot of fun in high school, I don't know.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Doing what? Oh yeah, there was something about some pranks. It was on one of your papers.
Some what?
Some pranks was on one of your papers. Some pranks that you did. Something about when your parents would drive you into town, and while the cat's away, the mice will play or something. You did something with sliding. Something. You have a story in there. Something about oats, or I can't remember. And then you have another story about jumping off of a roof.
Well, I remember when we as kids, my folks would go to Denver every weekend and buy our groceries for the week and do the shopping and all that kind of stuff. And of course, it was kind of assumed that we was going to behave while they was gone. That I guess no sooner get out the door than we'd head down to the highway and pick up cigarette butts to smoke.
Oh my gosh, Daddy. How old were you? You were supposed to be sitting in the car?
We was at home. They was just shopping in Denver.
And did you smoke them?
Huh?
Did you smoke them?
Yeah.
How disgusting.
We'd strip them. You strip them and re-roll them. And back in them days, a lot of people rolled their own cigarettes.
Oh.
And you could get cigarette paper, but you'd strip the cigarettes and redeposit them and re-roll them.
Huh.
And your parents never smelled that on you, huh?
It was kind of verboten that we weren't supposed to climb on the roofs at home. That we always liked to get up there and play tag and chase each other on the roof. And I remember the one time we got a hold of an umbrella and we see how well it worked for a parachute. I remember jumping off the roof holding the umbrella. And it's not too effective. I know that.
How come you didn't see? Were you the first one to go, or did you not look at your other brothers and say, well, that's not working too good?
I think we all tried our own. And it's lucky we jumped off the low point of the roof rather than the high point.
Well, Grandpa, we're about out of time.
Anyway, that was my first invention.
That didn't work too good. Okay, well, we're about out of time, so we're going to close this video, and we want to thank you for the interview.
See be.
Any final words of wisdom?
Well, just don't let it happen to you, I guess.
Don't let what happened to you.
What happened to me?
Parachutes, you mean? Just,
That for one. Yeah.
yeah, okay. All right, Grandpa.
Use bigger parachutes anyway.
Okay.
Umbrellas.
Okay, signing off.
The one we had was not too big. See ya.